What role does social media play and the technology that we have in the future of the coin market? Hey, it's Ben the Coin Geek, and I had a chance to sit down with Ben at Stax Bowers, who runs their social media campaigns, and we had a good time to chat and talk about what this future may look like. So go ahead and watch the video. If you don't know already, of course, you can like, join, subscribe, all those things. But sit down, watch the video, and then come back afterwards for some discussion. All right, I'm here with Ben at Stax Bowers Auction, and Ben, you are a social media maven for Stax. Is that your official title? Or?
That's my official title. It's on the business card, and so that's
man.
what I do.
I just made that up. That's good.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
what's your actual? Well, I shouldn't say what's your actual job description, because you wear many hats, right?
That's correct. Yeah, yeah. I like to say jack of all trades.
That's right.
So,
maybe like a Swiss Army knife.
Sure,
kind of
definitely.
Right?
So the title on the business card is web content manager. So I do some on the social media side.
Mm-hmm.
I do some on the web development side, where we're improving our website, adding new pages, adding new content, blogs, press releases, and just generally helping out where a helping hand's needed.
Yeah. So you're involved with like Instagram, Twitter. Is Stax on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook?
Instagram, Twitter,
YouTube.
Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube.
Okay.
And we haven't really ventured into many more yet. But
okay. Well, there's a lot of them, and so this is one of my concerns about like how do you use these platforms, generally speaking? I mean, as
Sure.
not just as a auction house, but then of course in the coin industry, what's the best use of these, in your opinion, of how to use these different media outlets?
Right. So I look at it generationally. So Facebook has generally had an older demographic.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's where we put a lot of times the higher value items, because it's going to be an older generation taking a look at those. May have some savings built up to where it's a little bit more affordable for them. Instagram is a very it's a very fast-paced type of social media.
Yes.
You scroll, you scroll, you see something you like, you just tap it and keep going. So on Instagram, we try to show off interesting content, but we don't feel the need to say too much about it, because we know people aren't going to sit there and read description this long.
Okay.
It's just they're going.
Scroll.
And similar with Twitter, but Twitter is more of a fast hit type thing.
I can't Twitter, man.
It's hard.
It's a different language.
It really is.
I mean, to me anyways, like it's, with Instagram, it's pictures. So I'm like, maybe I'm just illiterate and the cat's out of the bag. I can't actually read. I just like to look at pictures all day.
Right.
So as long as I get a good picture book, I'm good. Now, once my kids started reading on their own, I'm like, you guys can read to me instead.
Right, exactly.
The pictures are gone. I don't know what happens with the three little pigs now. So, but okay, so are you guys on Twitter a little bit, or?
We are.
Okay. Yeah. And so what do you use Twitter for? Is it just like?
It's almost a combination of Facebook and Instagram in terms of the content that we're showing, because we know that Twitter can be helpful in reaching the kind of lower threshold of affordability and the higher threshold. So we use that one as a combination. But one that I really see growing is our YouTube, actually. And I think that's going to be, in the future, the most prominent for us as well.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that YouTube can do for us. And I mean,
I'm not a fan of YouTube.
Yeah.
I really dislike YouTube, guys. I don't know about you guys.
Can't stand it.
No, not at all.
But we definitely see that taking off in the future.
Because you guys, you've got your own facility now, and I know that you guys work in different locations, but I know that the California location has a place where you hold auctions, but also it can be used for more development, more video. So, are you guys have like a 3-year, 5-year plan? I mean, who knows if all these things will be around in 3 or 5 years, right? But
so I would actually move that up a little bit and say maybe a 6 month to a 1 year plan, because we do have a lot of plans. You've worked with Larry in setting some things up in the past, and Larry has really helped us with the Coins of Motion and getting that off the ground. And should say, getting it off the ground for us. It was already off the ground and flying high when we joined with him. But well, we do have a plan in terms of that. We have some target numbers that we'd like to hit, but we also have target audiences, different types of programming that we want to put out to where people are more regularly seeing numismatic material.
Yeah,
I think that YouTube is great for giving people longer videos to watch. We could put those on IGTV, but
that's true.
It's just a little bit different. You know,
it is.
Like we talked about with Instagram being that fast-paced scrolling. To have someone sit down and watch a 10-minute long IGTV, it's
That's
most likely not going to happen.
Right. They're not there. You don't go to the buffet to get steak. Right. It's just a different type of medium. So,
that's right.
So with the demographics, that's something that you were talking about. Do you find that this is going to be outside of necessarily just like your company and business, but just more of a philosophical? Do you find that there's a youth movement? Is Instagram, YouTube, is this going to help the coin hobby?
I definitely believe so. So Instagram in particular, I have noticed a large influx of young numismatists. I follow some of them on my personal Instagram.
Yes.
Follow some of them on Stack's Instagram as well. And there's just a large kind of push. And these people are coming in with a decent amount of money as well. It's not people that are buying $10 items. I mean, they're spending $5,000 or $10,000.
Wow. You know what I'm finding is I just met a couple different kids. I call them kids at the show, and they're selling. They use Facebook a lot, which I was surprised by, but they use Facebook as a marketplace.
Okay.
They use it as a free marketplace versus trying to use eBay.
Right.
Which I'm a little jealous of because I'm like, I use eBay and like, man, I hate eBay. And everyone out there who sells on eBay, you know what I'm talking about. It's
right.
You use it because it has a lot of eyeballs.
Right.
But it's really inefficient as far as, cash flow goes.
Right.
But the kids also, so they use Facebook and they use Instagram, and they have all these communities and posts, and there's guys that just wheel and deal. And the number of kids that I met, like, they are funding their collection, or they're just like little young dealers.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, I do see a new generation coming up with it. And the interesting thing that you mentioned about eBay, I've seen that a lot as well, where somebody will post a coin and say, this is on my eBay for $5,000, but if you buy it here, $4,500 to you. And so yeah, they're making deals, and they're very successful with it.
So can you read demographics off of Instagram?
We can.
Okay. I don't know how to do that apparently, or I've never tried, I should say, because on YouTube I can look at my demographics and figure out.
Right.
There's a lot of data.
There is.
Which is nice.
Instagram doesn't have as much data. It's very generalized, but there is something to work off of.
So for the ANA, I mean, we're here at a Chicago ANA show, big show. Other than the eyeball test, is there a way does the ANA track attendees, like demographics at all? Do we have a way of knowing? Or as I just asked the room, like, what did you think about the average age in the room? Do you know? I mean, do you know that if the ANA tracks it?
I don't know on the ANA side of things.
Okay. Yeah. So I won't expect you to speak for them. I'm just curious because you know a lot of stuff.
Oh, well, thank you.
Clearly.
Thank you.
So, us Bens got to stick together.
That's
right,
how this works. Exactly.
Too many Bens in one place, you might have a problem. Ben Franklin was at the show, by the way.
He really was. We got a picture.
Yeah, I got a picture with him too, so that's good.
That's great.
Okay, so my gut feel, and just from talking to people at the show, was that there's definitely a younger feel to the crowd than in years past, and there hasn't been a big show for a couple of years, so it gave some time for that hobby to grow, I think. And I tend to agree that I think that social media has a lot to do with it.
Right.
So
I definitely say so, and I mean it's encouraging to see that too, because 2, 3, 4 years back, when people that I talked to locally would ask how the hobby was doing, I had to answer, I think it might be dying or going out. But yeah, it's good to see this new
but now
resurgence.
You're optimistic.
I am very.
Yeah, me too. I am also. Now, what are the pitfalls, do you think, for the coin community when it comes to social media, if any?
I think just like any type of community, there's still going to be scammers out there.
Yes,
that hacking, and just a lot of people who aren't honest in their dealings, and so we try to stay away from those people. Obviously,
do you know how to get people to avoid being hacked, or I mean, is there any tips or tricks or techniques that you're aware of?
Personally, I change my password frequently. I have a reminder set on the phone to do it once every 2 months or so.
Yeah.
And that way you just kind of stay ahead of the game. It's a little bit annoying to be changing your password all the time, but it's effective.
I can't remember any of my passwords, and I don't change them frequently
But if you can't remember them, how can someone else?
Yeah, well, that's good, right. Okay, good point. Well, maybe I have to hire a hacker to get on my phone. I forgot how to get into my phone, sir. Can you help me, please?
Right.
Something like that. Yeah. So that's a good observation. I think that you're always got to be aware of scammers, and so of course education is always very important. Right. That's one of the things that we focus on. Like, I'm really big on educating, and so I think if I can add to the question I asked you, it was, not only there's scammers, but there's guys that I think give a lot of hype or a lot of bad information or there's going to always be some negative drawback. And so, but the key is for people who are in the ANA and people who care about coin collecting, I think, is to generally continue to steer people back towards quality material and quality content, and
certainly,
and not promote stuff like you said. You want to make sure you don't promote or cross-pollinate with guys that are really not doing things with a good ethic or moral.
Right, right. You have to know your audience and who needs to be outside of that audience, for sure.
Yeah, who gets kicked out of the club.
Right, the people to separate yourself from.
Yeah, that's good. That's good advice. This has been great. I really appreciate your time. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think I had one more question. Two more questions. One is there any effort to refashion or shape the coin industry identity? Right. So you already mentioned, you kind of have a Facebook plan versus Instagram because you have different demographics.
Right.
But generally, I get 2 or 3 responses when it comes to coin collecting. One is, okay, really stuffy rich, like, the other one is like nerdy. And so like my whole thing is I think coin collecting's cool and we can make it cool. Now for your posts that you guys do, is there any angle that actually works towards getting rid of those identities or feeding into them?
Not at the moment, there's not. But to kind of go to that original question of reshaping the industry, everybody's an individual. So I don't think we want to reshape it too much. I mean, stereotypes exist for a reason, which is fortunate and unfortunate, I guess. But, there are a lot of older people. There are a lot of people that we may classify as nerdy. And that's okay. I mean, it's a hobby for everybody. And that's one of the good things about collecting coins and building a large collection is anybody can enjoy it. So I don't think that we need to reshape it all too much. If anything, maybe be more inclusive in who we bring in.
Yeah. The last thing is really just throughout our conversation, is there anything that really I missed out on in the interview? Like I should have brought up and mentioned that I didn't when it comes to general social media type stuff and coin collecting.
Well, we're at Stax Bowers on Instagram. Yeah. You can type in Stax Bowers Galleries on YouTube or Stax Bowers on Facebook. I like to think we're pretty easy to find.
Do you guys ever take out some of the old black and white catalogs? See, that's the stuff you should pump up on some of your media. That's fun. I like looking at some of the old, especially the covers.
Oh, yeah.
The covers are real classic.
Certainly. And we actually have a good section on our website for that. So
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, we have a section called Catalog Archives, and you can see everything back to the 1935s.
Really?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so,
I like that.
Worked on that little project a while back,
Nice.
and so at this point, we probably have 1,400 or so catalogs.
Cool. Yeah. Ben, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys, what topics do you think that we covered? What topics do you think we didn't cover, especially if there's questions you have about the social media world and coin collecting? Go ahead and leave your comments. Also, if there's an opinion you've got on that, what you think you see the future holding for the coin market and social media, go ahead and leave those comments. Thanks so much for watching. I've been the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.